A lot of us want a better relationship because we think that if we have better relationships, it will make our world better. And that's a true statement. But what a lot of us don't know how to do? Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. I wanted to share a lesson that I walked through with you guys today. I was reminded about looking at our past to see how we can maximize our present because our future is dependent on it. Some of you that already have the book, Red Alert, Is He the One? The Pocket Guide to Finding the Love of Your Life, already know this in chapter 7. For those of you that don't have the book, I want to share with you a little bit about what I was walking through. It says, as a woman, my worth is defined in God. No one will ever pursue me like him, love me like him, or die for me like him. Throughout the Bible, you see account after account of men willing to pay the cost for what they truly desired. Read what Jacob did for Rachel. In Genesis 29, his love was so powerful that the cost he paid in years to marry her seemed as only days to him. As amazing as that is, Jesus set the example for all men to follow. Jesus paid the price for his bride with his life. That bride is you and me. Should we expect anything less from a man? The truth of the matter is, anything worth having costs. So what costs are you willing to put on your worth? I had to walk through that element when I was resetting myself in the aftermath of my divorce. Many of you know that the book was birthed to tell my story about what I walked through. What a lot of people don't find out until they get to the end of the book. It's about resetting and rediscovering who you are. Because if you have a better relationship with yourself, then you can have a better relationship with others. But the glue for me, that's Jesus Christ. Because it was Jesus joining me on the journey that gave me the insight that I needed to know I'm worthy of love. Despite some of the situations that some of us have walked through in our past that made us believe that we are not worthy of the love that we desire, of the love that we seek, of the love that a lot of us are going through hoops and loops to get. You don't have to do all of that. If you ever take the moment to realize that who you are, how you were created, is more than enough. You were loved before the foundations of the earth were ever formed. I know that because that's what I read that God told me. But I also feel it within my soul because when I was at my lowest moment, it was Jesus that picked me up off the bathroom floor of that two-bedroom apartment and let me know that, Tanya, you may feel like you are discarded in this moment, but I need you to know that I love you. I've always loved you. And when the world decides to discard you and cast you aside, I'm still here to pick you up, to embrace you in the process and remind you that you are worthy. If we ever take the time to truly decide that we are worthy of the love that a lot of us so freely give, you give all that you have to give, more than you need to give to a lot of people that don't deserve it, but you do it anyway. That's an example of what Jesus did for us when he poured out his deity into a body to come to earth to give us a living example of what love looks like. And for a lot of us in our world, we're struggling to get through the day-to-day moments because the world will give you a concept about what it believes you should have and how you should function. And if you don't take the time to do some self-reflection and truly get some understanding about what you bring to the table, who you are at the core of your being, you'll let them tell you and you'll follow suit. And then you'll look up years later, maybe having married somebody that did not fully support you, been in a job that was not maximizing any of the skills that you truly have, hell, living a life that doesn't really look like something that you desire. You see, I had to make some decisions when I found myself at the end of that first marriage 32 years old, 2 kids in tow, just got a degree, but it was a degree that subject that I really, it's good for me, did well with it. But I've never really thought about being an electrical engineer. What a lot of us need to do is go back to a part of our life when the world wasn't telling us all about wasn't and couldn't and you weren't type, the things. For me, that was my 8-year-old. See, the 8-year-old Tanya was bold and fearless. The 8-year-old Tanya knew she was loved, operated from that love, and moved in ways that sometimes I'm a little jealous of her boldness because I shrink back sometimes in things that I know I should press forward. I allow the world to still kind of define some of my moments, and then I got to get a shaking to get me back to where I need to be. I don't know if that's your journey, but if you're walking in that, I want you to pause and give yourself the space and remember who you used to be before the world told you you was not. Because if we get that authority embedded in our soul, the 8-year-old in you, whatever that age is for you, will start standing and giving you an ovation to say, that's who we supposed to be. The job you have, if it's not aligned with the true elements of your being, because the true elements of your being you may have forgotten. And for you, if it was like me, go back and think, what did I used to do? Some of you have heard me share that I had to reset myself in the aftermath of the chaos of my divorce. And I started with the basics. What's my favorite color? What's my favorite flower? What are your basics? What is it that you need to know about you? Take out a sheet of paper, write down everything that you know to be true about you at the core of your being. Go back. If you can, do an autopsy on your life. Those of you that work with me on a regular basis know this is one of the activities that we walk through. I often share, take a line by line view of every year of your life. Some of us got to travel back through time more than others. But in doing so, that personal walk through your history will reveal to you the true you, the you that is fearless. When you know that anxiety will hold you hostage and cause you to think some type of way. You walking through that example will give you the courage to stand, the reinvigorated moments to revisit some dreams that you once let die on the vine because you let life get in the way. See what that was. And you may need to be able to, because now for a lot of us, we got some resources that we didn't have back then. We had all these grand, big dreams. You can now fund you. You may be the project that you focus on at the end of your day. Let that be what you do moving forward. Because for some of us, we're in environments that doesn't support us, give us the ability to let all of who we are truly be seen. You may need to do that outside of your 9 to 5 during your 5 to 9. It's in those moments that we get the chance to build a new version of ourselves, enhance elements of what we want to do, and be okay with doing it while you stumble. If you work on doing it now before you decide to take it full force and go all out, it'll give you an opportunity to embrace some of the pieces that you need to embrace. Because for me showing up right here, right now with you guys, this was not something that I did before 2020 happened. You see, when I was teaching, I taught because my regular job didn't give me the opportunity. So after my 9 to 5, I started helping others in the afternoon. And because I could do it in person, that for a lot of us was the only way that we did some things. But I was always that little girl that was in competitions, on the stage, going around doing the various things. I had to go through some of the awards and stuff that you see in the background. I had to stand up to walk through those things. So when I found myself in my adulthood teaching in front of a group of people, that wasn't too bad for me because I had years of practice in the dark. But when COVID happened and I had to switch gears on how I taught, that was a learning curve for me. It was a difficult moment. I wasn't sure how to do it. I mean, like I was crazy. But I knew what I had to do. It was time for him to go. So I packed up his things. Red alert. Is he the one? The pocket guide, the fine and lovely real life, tells my story. The free chapter is available for you in the link below. That was a learning curve for me. It was a difficult moment. I wasn't sure how to do it. And if you ever decide to go back and watch some earlier episodes of this podcast, I left them in there. Some as a reminder, hopefully, so that you pay attention to the lesson that I was teaching. Because each one of these episodes gives you something that you can take away. I'm hoping that it supports you. But it was in that moment where I was trying to discover, okay, Tanya, when you get nervous, you talk real fast. So I slowed down my pace to a part that really did not okay, I can't do it anymore. So at that time, I thought that I had to really slow down how I share what I do because I didn't think I'd be understood. It seemed to me that if I spoke at my semi-normal pace. So what I learned to do, techniques and tips that I learned professionally, that I started working through and maximizing when I was teaching in person. That gave me the opportunity to be able to share what I wanted to share, convey what I needed to convey, but I wasn't sure in the beginning that it would transfer easily. So I didn't do me on a regular basis. And as I walk through the episodes of Red Alert Diaries, which is birthed from my personal diaries, I want to give you some touch points. So there are moments I have to pause a little bit, read a little bit. And in the reading, I have to remember that this is where the words are, but this is where you are. Because if I was having a moment to speak to you in person, this is where I would more likely look. Now, sometimes, depending on how my screens are shared, it may not look directly, but I had to learn that where the camera is sitting is where you are sitting. And to do this often by myself, y'all, in the beginning, this was not an easy task. You see, I had you in mind. I know what I want to share, but we are geared to see a face. When you see a face, it helps you connect. When you see a face, it helps you feel. When you see another, it gives you a moment to resonate and connect. So in our environment now, where a lot of us are on screen, well, our avatars or our pictures are on screen, we still have difficulty showing up by ourselves, just staring into a space. So if you are like me and you need to help you get situated, put a little something where the camera piece is so that you know to look there. Because in the beginning, that's what I had to do. So I knew where to speak so that I can connect. And I had to imagine, because we have great imaginations. But when you walk through thinking about what you're doing, how you're helping, and how you're supporting, visualize the skills, the elements, and those pieces that you can use to help somebody else. So even though a part of me wants to desperately look here so that I can see and recognize, it's a learned skill. And you can learn new skills to transfer what you already possess into a new caveat for others to feel and be able to get support from. Because that's all I've been doing. But it's taken me time to get there. And if you are trying to make some adjustments so that the passionate parts of you, who you are at the core of your being, gets the chance to be seen, gets the chance to be known, gets a chance to be loved, remember. Remember who loved you first. Remember who loves you still. Remember who will love you in the end. And it will encourage you to stand in your moments. And so for today, if anything that I've shared resonates with you, then it's time to reset. So like, comment, and share this information with others. But before I leave, I want to leave you with the next level note. You see, I started off reading a section in my book about what Jacob did for his love for Rachel. As I was walking through the aftermath of my divorce, resetting Tanya, doing my line by line autopsy about who I am, what I possess, how do I show up? What was it that I was walking through mentally? Because for many of us, we're not paying attention to those elements of our lives because we don't think we can slow down. Because the thought process, especially if it's just you, because I was then a single mother trying to figure out how to get everything in my household back together. It was in that moment that I had to make some discoveries about Tanya. And if you are walking through an environment where you feel like you can't pause long enough to make some discoveries about you, this is where I want to encourage you to let Jesus join you on the journey, because it was Him letting me know, Tanya, in this moment where you feel broken, in this moment where you don't feel love, I want you to know I loved you so much that I gave my life so that you can feel love more than you ever imagined in your existence. And I left you love letters along the way in case you don't feel fully connected with me. Because for a lot of individuals, the Bible is a religious book. But if you ever decide to step beyond religion, you will see that God always intended for us to have relationship. It is in the relationship that I have with the creator of the universe that I am clear from the top of my head to the soles of my feet that I am loved, I am appreciated, I am cared for. And if I choose to slow this down and try to get off for a moment to breathe, Jesus has me covered. I am still protected. There is still provision. You can pause and it'll be okay. Because while I'm working to do everything that I can on my 9 to 5, God will support me in my 5 to 9. Because that love letter, one day as I was reading the love letter, God reminded me that evening and morning was the first day. God shows up in evening to begin His work through till morning so that you can do your work. That tandem move, letting Him join me, meant that I didn't have to do it all on my own like I thought I did. That moment of letting Him be a part of my day, I got the chance to do my part and He picked up the pieces that was left over. But I learned also that if I had a thought process to begin my day with having a conversation with Him since He's been working all night, I can get renewed. I can get energized. I can feel loved. The love that I was seeking, the love that I desired, the love that I wanted. In those moments, I will be okay because He said so. And when the world tries to tell me otherwise, there's a confidence in me that cannot be erased. There's a love in me that will not be removed. There's a moment in my existence that I know that I will be able to get through. And if that's what you need, oh, I encourage you. Let Jesus join you on the journey. And if you want someone that's walked through a couple of things, because I've crossed over some landmines that I don't want any of you to cross. And if my journey can help you a little more on your journey, reach out to me. Go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab and see the various ways that we can work with one another. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.